There's been a forgotten episode in human history, but perhaps the extremely defensive, arrogant, and patronizing attitude of mainstream academia is stopping us from considering that possibility.
It's an entrance. We can see an entrance.
Has been told that they have found something.
Archaeologists have opened tombs that should not exist. What they found inside has stunned even hardened experts and forced new questions about the history we thought we knew.
I've never seen anything quite like this. It's absolutely fascinating.
Graham Hancock has argued for years that the story of civilization is incomplete, that vital chapters were erased or ignored.
There are anomalous skulls. Again, we don't know what they called themselves.
Critics laughed, but these latest tomb discoveries have changed everything.
I can confirm to you something, that somebody is hiding something. What is it, we don't know.
I will never stop until I find the tomb of Cleopatra.
The lost queen beneath the earth. The search for Cleopatra's tomb was expected to end in ruins, not in a tunnel that rewrote what experts thought possible. In 2022, Dominican archaeologist Kathleen Martinez uncovered a 1-kilometer passage buried 13 meters under the temple of Cyrus Magna, west of Alexandria.
When we saw that, I cannot explain, it was one of the greatest moments of my life.
It was perfectly straight, evenly cut, and partly flooded. Engineers called it an ancient masterpiece. No other structure from Cleopatra's time looked anything like it. The shock came from its design. The tunnel's precision and depth didn't match what was known of the Ptolemaic period. The symmetry, geometry, and water management system appeared hundreds, maybe thousands of years ahead of their time. Martinez believes it leads to Cleopatra's final burial chamber. Graham Hancock sees something larger, evidence of inherited technology from a forgotten civilization. He argues that the tunnel's layout mirrors older sites built long before the dynasties of Egypt, proof that advanced engineering survived a global collapse and was reused by later rulers. Inside the tunnel, archaeologists found pottery, coins, and 2 alabaster statues dating to Cleopatra's reign. The items confirmed her connection to the site, but not the tunnel's purpose. Why build such a structure for one tomb? Why use methods unseen anywhere else in her era? Mainstream scholars say it was a grand royal project. Hancock and others see it as proof of knowledge Egypt didn't invent. Whatever the truth, the discovery forces one conclusion. The site under Cyrus Magna doesn't just hint at Cleopatra's grave. It questions how much of Egypt's brilliance truly began with her, and how much came from a world long erased. An army frozen in time.
It's a vast pottery army which is slowly being unearthed from the tomb where it's lain for more than 2,000 years.
You ever heard of a discovery so massive it feels impossible? That's Xi'an, 1974. Farmers dig a well, expecting water. Instead, they hit an army. Not a storybook army, not a handful of statues. An entire terracotta army, thousands of warriors frozen in clay for over 2,000 years, guarding the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. The official line? It's a burial ritual, a king wanting protection in the afterlife. Simple. But then you see the detail. Over 8,000 life-sized figures, no two alike, armor crafted stitch by stitch, archers with calloused fingers sculpted into clay, horses so lifelike you can almost hear the snort. That's not just ritual, that's obsession. That's precision on a scale that shouldn't have been possible. And here's where it gets chilling. Ancient records say the artisans who built this underground empire never left it. They were buried alive, their secrets sealed under the earth. The knowledge died with them, deliberately silenced. Even now, lethal traps still guard Qin's actual tomb. 2,000 years later, archaeologists won't go near it. Burial ritual? Sure, but it's also a coded message. Mastery hidden, knowledge protected, patterns repeating across cultures, from Egypt's pyramids to Mesopotamia's ziggurats. Graham Hancock calls it the fingerprint of a lost world, a memory of something far older. The terracotta army isn't just an army, it's a warning. Humanity's past is stranger, deeper, and far more sophisticated than the history books admit. The Forest King and the Dawn of Caracol.
Knew that we had a tomb, and tombs are normal at Caracol.
When archaeologists Arlen and Diane Chase opened a sealed tomb in Caracol, Belize, they didn't expect to rewrite Maya history. Inside lay the body of Tecob Chak, a ruler who died around 350 CE. His burial shouldn't have looked like this. At that time, the Maya were thought to be developing slowly, building toward later greatness. But this tomb told a different story. Takab Chak wasn't buried like a local chief. He was buried like an emperor. The grave was filled with painted pottery, carved bone tubes, jade masks, oyster shells, and a bowl decorated with the head of a coatimundi. These weren't signs of a struggling culture. They were proof of a fully developed civilization that was organized, artistic, and powerful centuries earlier than expected. Traditional history teaches that civilizations rise step by step, gradually learning to build cities, rule kingdoms, and master art and trade. Caracal challenges that belief. By the mid-6th century, the city was already a dominant power, controlling trade routes and standing toe-to-toe with mighty Tikal. This kind of advancement wasn't supposed to appear so quickly. It looked less like growth and more like a sudden jump forward. That's where the debate begins. Mainstream archaeologists say Caracal's success was the result of steady evolution, improved farming, trade, and alliances. But others, like writer Graham Hancock, argue that it hints at something deeper. He suggests that ancient knowledge may have survived from an earlier lost civilization, perhaps from the last ice age, and was passed down to the Maya. Whichever view you take, Takab Chak's tomb leaves no doubt about one thing. The Maya of Caracal were not climbing their way toward greatness. They were already there. His burial marks the dawn of a kingdom that would shape Maya history for centuries, and still raises a question that no one can yet answer. How did so much complexity appear so early, and where did it really come from? The Silver Pharaoh and his hidden treasure. In 1940, while Europe was tearing itself apart, a French archaeologist was digging in the Nile Delta, and what he pulled from the sand didn't look like decline. Pierre Montet had gone to Tanis, a site written off as provincial compared to the Valley of the Kings. What he found was a tomb that forced Egyptologists to rewrite the script. The name was Susenis I. On paper, he ruled during the 21st dynasty, a so-called dark era when Egypt was splintered, its golden age long gone. The textbooks called it decline. But inside that tomb, no trace of weakness. Susenis was wrapped not in scraps, but in silver, metal rarer and more prized than gold in ancient Egypt. His burial mass gleamed with flawless detail. Nested silver and gold coffins displayed metalworking skill equal to anything from Egypt's height. And the treasures kept coming. Gold sandals, amulets and rings marked with his cartouche, ceremonial weapons, pectorals of lapis and gold telling sacred stories in miniature, silver bowls and cups so finely worked they looked industrial, not ancient. If this was decline, it was the richest collapse in history. Here's the twist. Conventional history insists civilizations crumble, their skills lost in the rubble. Yet Susenis's tomb screamed continuity, unbroken craft traditions, astronomical precision, wealth and power undiminished. Exactly the kind of anomaly Graham Hancock seizes on. He argues this isn't Egypt reinventing itself. It's Egypt preserving knowledge handed down from a much older source, a civilization wiped out but not forgotten. And Tanis itself delivered another zinger. While the Valley of the Kings was plundered centuries ago, Susenis's resting place sat untouched, a royal capsule sealed against time. That survival raises the obvious question. How many other intact burials still lie hidden, their secrets waiting to challenge everything we think we know? Montet's discovery didn't just restore a pharaoh's name, it shattered the illusion of decline. And as archaeologists stared at the Silver Pharaoh's treasures, half a world away, another desert was preparing to deliver its own bombshell, one that would rewrite the story of South America the same way Susenis rewrote Egypt. The Golden Warrior of Peru. When archaeologist Walter Alva received an urgent call in 1987 about grave robbers at Sipan on Peru's northern coast, he could not have anticipated discovering evidence that would resonate with one of Graham Hancock's most compelling questions. How did ancient societies develop such sophisticated artistic and architectural knowledge? The tomb at Sipan, dating to approximately 100 to 700 CE during the Moche civilization's zenith, contained a ruler known as the Lord of Sipan, his real name lost to time, whose burial revealed a mastery of metallurgy, engineering, and cosmological understanding that demands explanation. Graham Hancock has long argued that advanced knowledge was transmitted to emerging civilizations by survivors of a lost Ice Age culture. The Lord of Sipan's tomb provides a window into exactly the kind of sophisticated society Hancock suggests received such transmitted wisdom. This was no modest chieftain's grave, but a monument to Peru's most powerful rulers, demonstrating technical capabilities that speak to deeper roots of knowledge. The tomb itself exemplified Moche mastery. The Lord of Sipan lay adorned in a spectacular golden headdress, with gold and turquoise ornaments proclaiming divine status. His body wore gold and silver jewelry, massive golden ear ornaments, necklaces of gold and silver beads shaped like peanuts, and a golden ingot serving as royal scepter. The Lord of Sipan was not buried alone. 8 other individuals accompanied him: 2 warriors or guards, 3 young women who may have been wives or concubines, a child, a dog, and 2 men whose amputated feet suggest sacrificial servants. Each received precious grave goods, forming a royal court serving their lord in the afterlife, a cosmological worldview suggesting inherited religious knowledge systems. Sipan's preservation was extraordinary. The dry desert climate maintained organic materials rarely surviving elsewhere: textiles, wood, and original colors on painted ceramics. The lord's clothing included elaborately decorated tunics and cloaks, demonstrating sophisticated weaving techniques. Feathered ornaments incorporating brilliant tropical bird plumage from the Amazon revealed extensive trade networks connecting coastal Moche with distant regions. Precisely the kind of far-reaching contact Hancock proposes facilitated knowledge transmission across ancient cultures. Among the most significant discoveries were ceremonial weapons and regalia, identifying the Lord of Sipan as both warrior and priest king. Golden and silver knives, spear throwers, and shields bore intricate decorations depicting mythological scenes matching those on Moche pottery and murals. These consistent iconographic systems across different media demonstrate a unified cosmological framework. The type of coherent religious and astronomical knowledge Hancock suggests was passed down from earlier advanced sources. The Lord of Sipan was not merely a political ruler, but a central figure in complex religious ceremonies defining Moche society. This integration of astronomical, religious, and political authority mirrors patterns Hancock identifies in other ancient civilizations worldwide, from Egypt to Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica. Could such parallels indicate shared ancestral knowledge rather than independent development? Yet as remarkable as these discoveries were, they represented relatively recent chapters in the human story. To understand the true origins of monumental civilization and address Hancock's theories about knowledge transmission, we must journey back even further in time, to the very dawn of pyramid building in ancient Egypt, the birth of monumental architecture. At Saqqara, Egypt, around 2670 BCE, something remarkable emerged that challenges Graham Hancock's central question: how did early civilizations acquire sophisticated architectural knowledge so rapidly? The step pyramid of Djoser represents not gradual evolution, but what Hancock calls knowledge transfer, the sudden appearance of capabilities that suggest inherited wisdom from a lost civilization. Here, Pharaoh Djoser of the 3rd dynasty commissioned something unprecedented: a tomb reaching toward the heavens themselves. The step pyramid stands as physical evidence supporting Hancock's theory that survivors of an advanced Ice Age civilization transmitted their expertise to emerging cultures. This monument wasn't humanity's first hesitant experiment in stone construction. It was a revolutionary leap demonstrating sophisticated engineering principles that appeared almost fully formed. Designed by the legendary architect Imhotep, the pyramid rose in 6 distinct steps to a height of over 200 feet, dominating the desert landscape and proclaiming capabilities that conventional archaeology struggles to explain as indigenous development. But the visible pyramid was only part of Djoser's tomb complex. Beneath the massive stone structure lay a labyrinth of chambers, corridors, and rooms that comprised the pharaoh's actual burial place. When archaeologists first penetrated these underground chambers, they encountered what Hancock identifies as characteristic markers of transferred knowledge: precision-cut stone architecture on a grand scale appearing without apparent precedent. The burial chamber itself, carved deep into the bedrock beneath the pyramid, was lined with granite brought from quarries hundreds of miles away. The engineering required to transport and position these massive stones represented exactly the kind of quantum leap that Hancock argues indicates knowledge inheritance rather than independent invention. Unlike earlier pharaohs, who were buried in relatively modest mastaba tombs, Djoser's burial chamber demonstrated capabilities suggesting access to advanced principles. The complexity of the underground chambers reflected understanding that appears disproportionate to Egypt's supposed developmental timeline. Corridors led to storage rooms filled with provisions for the king's eternal sustenance, while false doors and dead ends were designed to confuse tomb robbers. The walls bore some of the earliest hieroglyphic inscriptions found in royal tombs, establishing traditions that would continue for thousands of years. Perhaps most significantly, Djoser's tomb represented the birth of pyramid technology that Hancock argues may connect to even older, forgotten sources. The step pyramid was not just a larger version of earlier tombs, but an entirely new concept whose sudden appearance aligns with his knowledge transfer hypothesis. Its success would inspire the pyramid builders of Giza and establish Egypt's pharaohs as inheritors of remarkable capabilities. The archaeological investigation of Djoser's burial chamber has revealed information that addresses Hancock's fundamental question about technological origins. The precision cutting of stone blocks, the sophisticated understanding of engineering principles required to support such massive weight, and the organizational skills needed to coordinate such a vast construction project all point to capabilities that emerged remarkably quickly, precisely what Hancock's theory predicts when ancient knowledge reaches a receptive culture. Recent excavations have also uncovered evidence of the elaborate ceremonies that accompanied Djoser's burial. The complex included courtyards for ritual activities, dummy buildings that served symbolic purposes, and facilities for the ongoing cult of the deceased pharaoh. These discoveries reveal that Djoser's tomb was not simply a burial place, but the center of a religious complex embodying sophisticated concepts. For Hancock, such monuments represent humanity's earliest accessible evidence of knowledge, passed down from a civilization whose existence conventional archaeology has yet to acknowledge. The secret of the pyramid builder's secret. In the scorching sands of Dashur, approximately 40 kilometers south of modern Cairo, stands evidence that challenges conventional archaeological narratives about human technological development. Around 2600 BCE, Pharaoh Sneferu commissioned not one, but two massive pyramids whose sophistication suggests something Graham Hancock has long proposed: that advanced knowledge from a lost Ice Age civilization may have been transmitted to early Egyptian society. The bent pyramid, with its distinctive angular profile shifting mid-construction from 54 to 43 degrees, and the red pyramid that followed, represent what Hancock might interpret as the material expression of inherited wisdom rather than mere experimental architecture developing in isolation. Sneferu's pyramid complex embodies the enigmatic transition from stepped pyramids to true smooth-sided monuments that conventional Egyptology attributes to rapid 4th Dynasty innovation. Yet the sudden appearance of sophisticated internal chamber systems, precisely aligned astronomical orientations, and construction techniques demonstrating advanced mathematical and engineering understanding raises questions central to Hancock's thesis. The Red Pyramid became the first successfully completed true pyramid in human history, but the level of expertise displayed challenges timelines, suggesting such capabilities emerged without antecedent. The significance of Sneferu's resting place extends beyond architectural achievement into territory Hancock explores regarding lost civilizations. Hieroglyphic inscriptions and papyrus records indicate unprecedented prosperity and territorial expansion, yet the technical mastery evident in the Red Pyramid's construction, limestone blocks fitted so perfectly that a knife blade cannot slide between them, speaks to organizational capability that appears almost fully formed. This precision served as foundation for the Great Pyramid of Giza, built by Sneferu's son Khufu, creating what Hancock views as monuments potentially preserving pre-cataclysmic knowledge. What makes Sneferu's legacy particularly intriguing through Hancock's framework is how archaeological evidence of experimental construction techniques, tool marks, construction ramps, and worker villages coexists with the inexplicable sophistication of the final structures. The discovery of sealed chambers containing boat pits and subsidiary burials suggests the pharaoh's tomb functioned as a complete microcosm of the afterlife, incorporating elements that influenced royal burial practices for centuries. The enduring tomb of Cyrus. The journey from Egypt's architectural marvels leads us eastward to the windswept plains of Fars province in modern Iran, where a simple stone structure has defied the ravages of time for over 2 millennia. Here, near the ancient city of Pasargadae, stands the tomb of Cyrus the Great, founder of the Persian Achaemenid Empire, dating to approximately 500 years ago, 130 BCE. Unlike the imposing pyramids of Egypt, Cyrus chose a design of elegant simplicity that paradoxically became one of history's most influential royal monuments, yet one that may preserve ancient construction wisdom passed down through millennia. The understated grandeur of the tomb itself reflects the personality of the ruler it contains. Cyrus the Great, who conquered territories spanning from the Aegean Sea to the Indus River, created the world's first true multinational empire. Yet his final resting place consists of a gabled stone chamber raised on a 6-stepped platform, measuring only 5.2 by 4.7 meters. This architectural restraint speaks to a ruler who valued substance over spectacle, governance over grandiosity, while his builders employed techniques suggesting inherited knowledge from far older traditions. Historical accounts describe how even Alexander the Great, upon visiting the tomb in 324 BCE, was moved to order its restoration and protection. The Macedonian conqueror, who had destroyed countless cities and monuments across his vast campaigns, recognized something profound in Cyrus's simple memorial, perhaps sensing the timeless engineering principles embedded within its construction. Archaeological investigations around the tomb have revealed the remains of a vast palatial complex that once surrounded it, including the foundations of Cyrus's throne hall and gardens. These discoveries paint a picture of Pasargadae as not merely a burial site, but as the ceremonial capital of the early Persian Empire, where ancient architectural wisdom found expression. The tomb's survival through successive invasions, earthquakes, and political upheavals demonstrates the respect accorded to Cyrus across cultures and centuries. Even during the Islamic conquest of Persia, the monument was preserved, with local traditions attributing it to the mother of Solomon, suggesting an intuitive recognition of its connection to more ancient lineages. The engineering of Cyrus's tomb reveals a sophisticated understanding of seismic activity and environmental protection that raises compelling questions about knowledge transmission across ages. The interlocking stone construction technique, achieved without mortar, allows the structure to flex during earthquakes while maintaining structural integrity, a principle found in megalithic sites worldwide, from Peru's Sacsayhuaman to Turkey's ancient foundations. This construction method, combined with the tomb's elevated position, has enabled it to survive natural disasters that destroyed countless other ancient monuments throughout the region, preserving techniques that may echo a lost civilization's mastery of building in harmony with Earth's dynamic forces. The Golden Wari Queens. In 2013, archaeologists made a discovery that forced experts to rethink what ancient South Americans were capable of. At El Castillo de Huarmey, about 300 kilometers north of Lima, a Polish-Peruvian team led by Miloš Giersch and Roberto Pimentel, NIDA uncovered the first untouched royal tomb of the Wari civilization. The Wari ruled large parts of the Andes between 700 and 1000 CE, building South America's earliest known empire centuries before the Inca. Until this find, no one had ever seen an unlooted Wari royal burial. The tomb had been hidden under more than 30 tons of stone and sealed with precise engineering that kept it intact for over 1,000 years. Inside were the remains of 63 people, including 3 Wari queens, surrounded by over 1,200 objects of gold, silver, and fine textiles. These weren't primitive items. The jewelry showed microscopic-level craftsmanship, filigree, soldering, and metal shaping that seemed out of place for the time. Some of the pieces, including gold ear ornaments depicting winged beings, demonstrated a level of precision that modern tools would struggle to replicate. Textiles found in the tomb were woven with threads of precious metal, using spinning and dyeing techniques that required mathematical planning and controlled heat. Chemical analysis showed uniform metal alloys that shouldn't have been possible with the known Wari smelting methods. The find raised a simple question: where did this knowledge come from? Was it developed independently, or did it reflect knowledge passed down from an older, forgotten source? Forensic studies added another layer. The bodies of the queens bore insect pupae, proving they were once exposed to air, likely displayed before burial. This meant the Wari preserved and publicly venerated their royal dead, suggesting a belief system that connected politics, religion, and technology in ways still not fully understood. Even the tomb's survival was a technological achievement. Its builders used sophisticated sealing methods that kept it hidden, despite centuries of looting around it. The entire structure showed an understanding of pressure, airflow, and stone balance uncommon for its time. These weren't simple builders, they were engineers. The discovery revealed more than wealth. It exposed a civilization with organized labor, advanced metallurgy, and symbolic knowledge that hinted at deeper origins. The Wari may have inherited or rediscovered skills that predated them by centuries, possibly rooted in earlier highland or coastal cultures lost to time. The tomb of the Golden Wari Queens didn't just change what archaeologists knew about one empire. It raised a harder question. How much ancient knowledge has already been erased, and how did a people over 1,000 years ago master techniques that modern science is only beginning to understand? The Thracian Revelation. In the rose-scented valleys of central Bulgaria, where, in the summer of 2004, Bulgarian archaeologists achieved one of the most spectacular discoveries in European archaeology. Near the town of Shipka, in the Kazanlak municipality, a team unearthed a large, intact Thracian mausoleum dating to the 5th century BCE, buried under the 20-meter-high Golyamata Kosmatka mound. This discovery would prove to be the tomb of Suthas III. one of the most powerful Thracian kings of the ancient world. The Thracians, Indo-European peoples who controlled territories across southeastern Europe, represent a missing chapter in our understanding of an advanced prehistoric maritime civilization that may have inherited knowledge from far older cultures predating the conventional timeline of European history. The tomb was discovered in 2004 under the Golyamata Kosmatka burial mound, providing archaeologists with their first opportunity to examine an unlooted Thracian royal burial in its original context. Within the tomb's chambers, excavators discovered an extraordinary collection of artifacts that revealed the sophisticated nature of Thracian court culture. Perhaps most stunning is the bronze bust portrait of the king with inlaid milky white stone eyes that seem to stare fiercely back at the viewer. This life-sized head, created by skilled Thracian artisans, demonstrates a level of artistic achievement that rivals the finest classical Greek and Roman sculpture, suggesting these techniques may have been preserved from an earlier forgotten epoch of human achievement. The realistic portrayal, with its individualized features and intense expression, suggests that Thracian artists worked from life models and possessed a sophisticated understanding of human anatomy. The tomb also contained an impressive array of golden artifacts, including a wreath of golden oak leaves, ceremonial armor, and drinking vessels that demonstrate the wealth and international connections of the Thracian kingdom. Silver and bronze items found alongside the king included horse trappings and personal ornaments that provide insight into Thracian military practices and social hierarchies, while the presence of Greek-influenced pottery and jewelry suggests extensive trade relationships throughout the ancient Mediterranean world.